Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
This is a matchup for the ages. Audi cuts a path straight to the paint, and she serves up a slam dunk. I hope Audi may have the win, but Frank really got the W on that play. That's got to hurt.
No intro today because I'm a total idiot when it comes to working this thing. This is why we need Aiden Wyatt. My name is Chris Williams. He is Brent Blum. Welcome to the program. It is Sunday, the 22nd of December. We are in the Wild Rose Casino Studios. We are recording right after the Iowa State men defeat Morgan State and the Cyclones. Well, let's just pull up the 10-1 in the non-conference this year, with the one loss being to the KenPom #1 ranked team in the country. Not bad. We'll take it.
And then Auburn just kicked the crap out of Purdue yesterday.
I didn't even see
They beat them by 20, and it could have been way worse. Iowa State is, and I know Auburn has a loss, but it's pretty clear Iowa State's a top 3 team. And don't take much from that game today. It was really just it looked to me like a game we played at the Lead Rec back in the day.
Well, honestly, that Morgan State team was like, in that first half, it's like, God.
I thought their little guards were really good. You could tell. So TJ stopped their coach at the end of the game. Was like, "Hey, you guys are actually."
I was
really
like, that
good
team's
today.
like middle of the Big 12. I'm kidding,
yeah,
obviously.
If you look at their scores, it's like, I did not anticipate that. Neither apparently did Las Vegas. But again, I'm not taking too much from that one today.
No, I've learned over the years these getaway games and the game right after Iowa and the game right before break are generally always a disaster. And just as far as energy, I actually thought the team played with energy. It was just sloppy, defensively.
Yeah, it just kind of didn't lock in all the
way. And
that
that team
on those
just
little
hit
guys.
so many freaking shots early. It was kind of impressive.
Yeah, good for Morgan State. But yeah,
we're not going to overanalyze that game today.
They get to go home for a couple days, and then it's an interesting first Big 12 game. Honestly, considering Iowa State played Colorado and really just destroyed them in Maui, now you got to go to Boulder. And Chris, we know, the long-timers know, going to Boulder, despite any type of pregame expectations, is never easy.
No, it's really freaking hard with the altitude and their arena has improved, I feel like, since the Wayne Morgan years. But, I mean, that used to be the place where you just were terrified to go on a Tuesday night.
The best Iowa State team of all time.
So sleepy and
lost there. So if you heard this name, Jacque Walls, that'll ring some bells for some people, and they're probably rolling their eyes right now.
Yeah. Well, 10-1, top 5 team in the country in every metric, every poll. We will take it as far as the non-conference goes. It was a success for Iowa State basketball. Again, we're not going to analyze that too much today because it's just I don't know what else we can do.
A+ non-conference, A+ for sure.
The football team had an eventful weekend. I just want to do some house cleaning real quick. So here's our schedule. We're recording this in the middle of the day on the 22nd. On the 23rd, we are going to record our pregame show for the bowl game. We've already recorded a good chunk of it. We had Chris the Bear Felica.
That's right.
From Fox on. And also Ryan Harklaw from the Cyclone Radio Network, former Dan McCarney player. And those are we're calling this the bowl game preview show, but it's a heck of a lot more than that. It's really a big analysis of Iowa State football and with Felica, the Big 12 in general. So we will have that out for you guys for holiday travel. Okay. We are waiting to do a final segment because we wanted to see if there were any bowl, and I'm glad we did with the Onyedim news that hit this weekend. So that changes the conversation as far as Iowa State goes. That will be out, I believe, on the 24th. Maybe Aiden will put it out a little bit earlier. But you're going to have our quote-unquote bowl preview show for your holiday travel. I am traveling on the 26th to Orlando. We'll do all of our content from out there. Iowa State isn't even going until the 26th this year. It's not like bowl games in the past where they've gone out for like 7 days or whatever. Back in the day it used to be. So we're going to have as much content for you guys. I know Aiden's working most of the day on Sunday to get a lot of this stuff done. And so this will be a shorter show because we're just going to come back and do another one tomorrow on the bowl game. So we will not do a lot of Iowa State-Miami today. I just wanted to make that very clear from the start. The other thing, last-minute Christmas shoppers, you could do us a huge favor, and you could get somebody you love something awesome. You can gift a premium subscription for Cyclone Fanatic. We have been working our butts off over the last 3 weeks on all this portal stuff. This is every Iowa State fan who's like a diehard should have this, and it supports what we do. It supports all of our free content. I always tell people the reason Cyclone Fanatic started is because a couple of Iowa State fans thought it was bullshit that the media didn't cover Iowa State the way that they should. So you're supporting that. So we will have that out all over our social media. Go and click on it. Go to Patreon if you want to search Cyclone Fanatic, and you can find the subscription page. But the easiest way is to go to my social media or Cyclone Fanatic social media. It's super easy where you can sign your loved one up, you pay for it, and then they get the emails, the insider emails directly to them via our friends over at Patreon. So there, we got that out of the way. We are in the Wild Rose Casino Studios. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne. And I hope you have some Cody Road when the weather outside is frightful. It's actually really nice out today.
Yeah, I almost could. Like, I was outside for a bit today. My gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Our guy Kyle on the internet was complaining that it's another non-white Christmas in Iowa. Does this bother you?
No.
I didn't think twice about it. Now my kids kind of want to build a snowman, but I don't care. I don't want to. You know me, C-Dub. I don't want to snowblow or shovel.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't bother me in this. It's always kind of like nice when you get one. You know, I remember one year, probably 10, 12 years ago, where we just got bombed with snow. Do you remember that?
I do.
Like, church was canceled, all that. We were just stuck at my in-laws. I remember nobody could do anything.
That was, actually, I know it well. It's 2015.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know why I remember that, but I do remember that.
All right. Let's start with the transfer portal giveth, the transfer portal taketh away.
Yep.
We lost one over the weekend and didn't see it coming. At least I didn't. I thought that from what I had heard, and you certainly know more than me, and you can't give away everything, but this is a young man who had already, at least it sounds like verbally committed to come back to Iowa State next year. For one reason or another, has a change of heart. I don't know exactly why, but Tyler Onyedim, 11 on the defense, starting defensive end, enters the portal, was obviously a projected starter next year. We can talk about what it means to the team, where to go from here. Iowa State did pick up another defensive end in the portal just a few hours after that. But Bloom, this one caught me by surprise. This is one of the last guys I would have thought was going to hit the portal when I got the text that this was happening.
Yeah, that's the thing about this era. You just don't know for sure. And, you know, we thought T.O. was good to come back and had expressed the same. But, I mean, there's no legal ramifications you can really do. I mean, at that point, it's kind of you're a person of your word. And, you know, for whatever reason or another, he changed his mind. My guess is he'll end up closer to home, potentially in the SEC. And the issue with the portal, C-Dub, it's open till the 28th. So we're almost to the end of it. Mm-hmm. Which is good and bad, because now Iowa State needs to build some depth on that defensive line, quite candidly. And, you know, I'm glad they got the Tulsa transfer really almost 2 hours after T.O. left. But, you know, in this situation, what's happening, just to give you kind of behind the curtains, is those big schools. Again, this is not to disparage TO, but those bigger schools will target their priority guys, right? And they'll try them first. And if they miss on those guys, then they go down to their next set. I mean,
that's why the timing of this was so weird. I'm glad you're giving us that perspective because that's likely what's happening.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I almost guarantee that they had other priorities. Whatever school he ends up with, and everyone's like, "Well, is that tampering?" It's like, well, everybody does it. Like, quite candidly, don't worry about tampering. It is what it is. It's just
if you're pointing fingers at about tampering, like Iowa State's doing the same thing to smaller schools in every sport. Like that's just the way of the world now.
And it's not legislated at all.
Yeah,
it's
like not.
Is
it even tampering anymore?
And now I do think, I hope, a year from now there will be some more meat to the enforcement mechanism, and we'll have months to figure that out. But essentially, these schools, if they miss on their top targets, they go down a level, and just quite frankly, you'd have to ask Teal what the reasons were, whether it's home, whether it's money, whether it's positional fit. I don't know for sure. He didn't have to tell anybody at Iowa State, but lo and behold, he entered the portal, and timing's tough because you only have so many days to find a replacement, and they were banking on T.O. being there next year. Now, the interesting part here is you're open to the 28th, okay? So the good news for Iowa State fans, if you can get to the bowl game, the portal closes. But that Iowa State personnel department is efforting hard to find some depth at that position. And then keep in mind, April, there's another window. But, C-Dub, this is the rush here, and it's really hard, and you better trust your personnel people. You sometimes have to find a guy in the next 6 days, get him on campus before the semester starts, and prepare for a bowl game at the same time. These transfers, they want to get them in so they can go through workouts.
Yeah.
And so this is why like the Florida States had a bad year this year. Some of these schools that were really transfer heavy have bad years. You get a bad eval, you get a bad evaluation, you're just going off, your PFF grade or whatever, and it may not be a good fit. So you really got to trust your people and hope you catch some luck. But there's no doubt Iowa State needs some depth on the D line. And again, I'm not trying to say it was all money, but honestly, like any support for we will now and really until to the next 6 months really helps, because in April there's going to be another window open there, and who knows who we're going to have to stave off at that point too.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave us that perspective on the timing, because that was what tripped me up on the Onyedim deal, because I was like, wait a minute.
There's nothing we can do. We cannot lock these guys into these non-competes. Like there is no teeth to these contracts really. Like you can't. There's only so much you can do here. And so T.O. the opportunity called, and he's from Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up somewhere down in that neighborhood.
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing as well. And really an interesting deal too, because I don't know. For what it's worth, I heard Texas A&M.
They're in Mississippi. There's kind of the two likely candidates.
Like my question, and I'm not I don't want this to come out because I would much rather 11 be a Cyclone. Like,
yeah, for sure.
By the way, I don't want to be like sour grapes here.
Nope. But my experience with him was always really positive.
Whatever.
Super nice guy.
My point is that I don't think he can be any better than a 2 at Texas A&M.
I would agree. I would agree
because he has like statistically underperformed to what we thought 2 years ago he would be at Iowa State. Now, granted, I wanted him back for his 4th year because he's developed, and you're like hoping that this guy can be a real difference maker in that season. I'm trying to do more of a painting the picture for the fans to look at this, and we don't know. I haven't talked to him. You like him. I don't think you've talked to him either, but like this could just be a strict business decision where, because he's not going to play if he ends up where we heard, and he may not like that, and that could a lot of these guys enter the portal and then they don't end up where they think they're
right. Well, because what happens is once they enter the portal, then all these other personnel departments go, Onyedim's in the portal. Let's throw some cash at.
So it could change on a day-to-day basis, but it from a distance, it certainly feels like the young man is making a business decision more so than where can I play the most. So I'm not going to kill him. I won't kill him for that.
I mean, and honestly, like that is a hard spot in Iowa State's defense, and we can kind of get into that at some point. Is the 3-man front, the sack numbers, the tackle for loss numbers at that spot have not been the same since Will McDonald left.
Yeah, you basically have two guys who have done it.
You really have. And then honestly, MJ Anderson put up some really nice numbers
Forgot
2 years
about
ago.
him. Wish we would have had him this year.
Yeah. But
Or last year. Or
it would have been
whatever.
last year. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. But T.O., I mean, this year, honestly, C-Dub, you look at the numbers, you go, 15 tackles and no sacks. But it's
Two and a half tackles for a loss.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers weren't huge. It's just we've talked about it for 20 years since we've been doing this, C-Dub. The D-line is the hardest position to recruit at Iowa State, and so by no means am I saying Iowa State's better off without him, because they're not.
No.
Now, you can really use this guy. The D-line is really hard, and everybody knows that. And so the price for a good D-lineman is really high. And so you can't just say, hey, we'll just go get another one. Well, they're really expensive. So, it's just it's a tough timing-wise, and the schedule's doing Iowa State no favors with this. It's just the part of the process, and I guess the good news here is it hasn't really happened to us in the last couple of years. But it's a good reminder, C-Dub, that it can happen. It can happen when you're least expecting it, and that's why I haven't slept great, and I won't sleep great for the next 6 days, just trying to hope we get to the bowl game.
Well, and you made another good point there. Like this hasn't happened much. So, and that's a credit to everyone, from the coaching staff to you guys to the fan base for funding this thing. It's not easy, but man, Iowa State's done really, really well during this uncertain time, and we're getting to more solid ground coming up, especially with the coaching contracts that are done. So that's why I don't think there wasn't widespread panic.
No, I was
fan
actually
base.
very
it was
appreciative
great.
of the fans. They didn't lose it. Everyone
Well, and I went
realizes
to
the
his
situation.
announcement, and everybody was pretty courteous, I thought, for the most part. I am concerned though about the D-line next year.
100%.
Thank God Orange is going to be there.
Well, I mean,
allegedly
6 days, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not.
No, I know.
Dom
I know
has
what
not
you
said
mean.
anything, but it's this. If you
I
would
know
ask
what you
me, if you asked me Friday, I would say, we'd have T.O. and Dom back.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know for sure.
Well, and the plan. It's another reason you should get a premium subscription. Because you read about this stuff, but the plan has been to get a pass rusher even with T.O.
For sure
coming back. There's a guy I have circled. It's Ezeagu, who's, I mean, if you need a big offseason from anybody, isn't that the guy who we circle right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's of the group. Then Same is a young guy, but Ike's a lot closer than he is to being productive, and the staff says all the right things. It just hasn't quite translated to production yet. And Cito, let me ask you this, because really good conversation I thought on the message boards about Iowa State's base defense being that 3-3-5.
Mm-hmm.
And you even reported on one guy who's in the portal who decided not to visit Iowa State because he did not want to play in a 3-down lineman
He
set.
was a D2 D tackle who was projecting at a end at Iowa State.
So the question
And that was what I was told, that he doesn't want to play in that defense.
Which this is a business decision, right? I wouldn't, if I'm an air raid guy, I wouldn't go play for Iowa. It doesn't make any sense.
Correct. Yeah.
So you got to know who you are. I think it's interesting philosophically though for Iowa State. They've produced NFL talent with that 3-down lineman, Will McDonald being a good example, but also he gets forgotten about, but he was really good and perfect for Iowa State. Eni Wazirike was awesome. And so was Jaquan Bailey in this system. So I don't think it's just Will. This system can create pressure. It just hasn't happened the past couple of years. How much does Iowa State look to change anything in efforts to be more attractive potentially for a defensive end? Do you think about that at all? But at the same time, C-Dub, I look at it and go, well, there's that. However, Iowa State led the Big 12 in defense. Again.
I in my opinion, I'm more of an offensive guy than I am a defensive guy. But I think, Brent, you dance with the girl that brought you.
If it's not broke.
Well, let me. I want to tell those people who have that opinion, I hear you.
I think it's a really good discussion. Yeah.
I also think, though, when you look at what's coming back now, it almost makes. What do you think the strength of the team is? I was having a conversation with a coach on the team. This would have been on Wednesday, and I made the point that as far as a position group,
Mm-hmm.
I think linebacker could be Iowa State's best position next year.
Depth-wise?
Yeah, like I'm saying, like total strength. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is not
Yeah.
a fact that I'm stating. I'm saying, could you make an argument that with all the guys that played this year, like think how much better Goodwin is going to be.
Ebel will be a lot better.
Ebel is like going to be way better. Even like Barnes, you go from a guy like that who was a total like unknown walk-on, now a guy who they think could be scholarship in the future,
Yep.
potentially,
And
if he builds himself up into
Brazina,
it. Brazina was a shell of himself for after the West Virginia game.
Yeah, but he was really good for the
was-
2 games.
May
3
have been your
games.
best defensive player against
I agree with
Iowa
that.
in his first game
And
ever.
everyone forgets about Caleb Bacon.
Willich is coming
Willich
back.
is going to be has
McLaughlin is coming back.
Yeah. No. Okay. I mean,
So you see where I'm going here.
I think you have the most Big 12 capable starters maybe in that group. I still, other than Bacon, nobody's done it at like a all Big 12 level. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah. So, but numbers wise, I think they're in the conversation for sure.
I guess what I'm saying is, okay, so we're gonna go back to the 4 down.
That's a good
what
point.
I would do, and I'm never gonna bark at John Haycock because the guy is just way smarter than us. I think you can stay with what you do and be more exotic with it.
I like that.
Because I don't think with the group that they're gonna have, unless something happens, or this Tulsa kid is way better than I think he is, or
Well, then they got the UNI kid too
yeah.
to come and
Unless any of this like surprises me,
and they're going to try. By the way, they're trying to get some. I don't want to call them more high end guys, but absolutely.
yeah. No, this isn't over. This
Yeah,
conversation
and-
isn't over. My point is, I think you can get pressure on the quarterback in different ways than just with 3 down linemen, and you can run with the 3 down linemen, like John Haycock always says. You're bringing it from 4. It's just the mystery is where's the 4 coming from. Do it more with the linebackers. Like I also think too, I need to have a better look at the secondary, but there's a lot of guys that have played. When you factor in Patton to Tayshaun James to
Neal.
all
Neal's
those
coming.
guys that
Yeah.
have played, there's a possibility to be more exotic with it, but you don't necessarily have to change all of what you do.
That's good. No,
That's
good.
where I would land on this.
And, man, I would love to get.
It's
Haycock.
kind of your identity,
Yeah,
right or
no.
wrong. It's your identity. It's what the entire defense is based on. It's not as easy as being like, oh, we're just going to switch it up in the offseason.
Off-season wise, in your conversations with Haycock are always very thoughtful and some of my favorites. It seemed to me this year Iowa State was way more conservative and almost had to be because those linebackers had no idea what they were doing.
They had to
didn't-
call the game completely differently.
Just think about how many corner blitzes did Iowa State send? Almost like very few really after that West Virginia game. Like Iowa State was not the last 6 weeks. Iowa State was very seemed pretty standard a lot of ways. But I would love to get the numbers on that if that was intent by Haycock and staff.
Also, a situation, too, if you think back to, have you started rewatching the season yet? I did, because I'm sick. I was watching the West Virginia game in bed the other night on my iPad. And you can visibly see the calls that Colby Cratch is putting in there with Brian Barnes and Bo Goodwin and all those boys, where they are just going after the effing quarterback.
So they just run.
And they're not overthinking it. It's simplified to a point where I think, that was the game I think that Barnes started and right? It was after the Baylor game, I want to say. And they all played so well. I don't know. I'm going to land there, Brent, where we're not going to blow this thing up, but
Yeah.
we could definitely be more aggressive on the back 2 layers because they got to get more pressure on the quarterback going
They just
forward.
do. I mean, I'm trying
And
to
the run
find
game
it.
too. They weren't great against the run, but I think I think a lot of it'll take care of itself with the linebacker injuries.
Yeah, C-Dub, I'm looking right now. Iowa State 126th in sacks this year out of 133.
Yeah.
And your neighbors in that category are Maryland and Mississippi State.
Aren't we going to see Bacon with his hand down?
I mean, he was Iowa State's best sack guy last year.
That's
Iowa
what I'm
State,
saying. Like, I thought that we were going to see more of that this year, but we never got to see
when
it.
he got hurt, yeah, exactly. I think that was the plan.
That could have been the down lineman thing, the 4-down thing that we heard about all offseason. It got blown up on the first game.
Literally the first half. I think so. There's no question, though. Everybody realizes it's actually kind of remarkable Iowa State won 10 games being 126th in sacks. I mean, they really put that thing together with duct tape for a whole part of the year, and it really manifested itself in sacks. Something has to be different. Chris, I agree. You still finished first in the Big 12 despite all that, which is remarkable. It really is remarkable.
Like, don't overreact to small things that happen. Like, right now, Onyedim going in the portal feels like a massive deal. And for this, maybe even in the bowl game, like on the surface, it's a big deal. But you can't this is what separates really great leaders from poor ones. You don't overreact to little things that happen along the way. Completely blowing up your defense because one guy transfers for money, which we think is the case, and we both were okay with it, and one guy who probably would have been an average at best transfer, maybe better, I don't know. We'll find out. I hope he has a great career. Comes from a program, Northwest Missouri State, that I love. Like, I grew up watching them.
Yep.
But you can't overreact to it. You've got to stick to what you know and what you're good at. And if not, like, if you're going to blow up your entire defense and change your entire defensive culture after winning the most games in school history, like, to me, that feels like a massive overreaction.
Panic move. Yeah.
But again, like, I don't want to disparage fans that have this feeling because I understand.
I had the exact same thought process.
It is frustrating watching that 3-man front when you cannot pressure the quarterback. It drives you crazy. And you have to be a really special type of patient fan to understand that.
Yeah,
like, I get it. It sucks.
Well, and C-Dub, and it's 2 years running though.
Yeah.
Iowa State was 109th in 23.
I get it.
So it's like, however, you've won 17 games in 2 years, so it's just like
it is maddening to watch.
There is
when you're getting carved up for 6 yards per carry, but the linebackers to me in that system are just so damn important. When Iowa State had its good linebackers this year, when guys were healthy, they were pretty good on defensive against the run.
Yep.
It really didn't matter much with the 3-down linemen. I would even say that I watched the Arizona State game again. That was the linebackers lost that game on defense. That was not a D-line game.
Well, that's
in my opinion.
That's why I was like, T.O.'s still pretty good. I mean, he did his job.
Yeah,
his
but
job
his job
isn't.
He doesn't just get numbers. That's not what
flashy.
a D-lineman does there.
And that is where I think some people are coming from. Was that the issue, that he didn't get numbers this year? And then if he doesn't get numbers, does he get the attention? And it's like, well, the NFL will find you, by the way. But again, I'm not blaming the individual here. It's just the system is set up this way, and he took advantage of it. And now it's up to Iowa State. Yeah, it's up to Iowa State to adjust. And that's what it's like. The great thing about this whole deal, you can complain about it, or you can just go do something about it. And that is, for the football staff, go find somebody else that maybe is better. And if you're a fan, you feel kind of helpless. Well, there's one way to fix it, and keep supporting, whatever that means to you. You know?
Yeah, don't overreact.
Yeah.
I don't think most people are. I think that it's been a really constructive 24 hours as far as that goes.
It was good for, I would say it's a good thing, but it's just a wake-up call. Like when I got that text yesterday morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought we were out of the woods. Yeah, work's not done. Work's never done.
All right, we are presented by our friends at Mechdyne, Williams and Blum. Sunday also, we're going to do a bunch of thank yous here because we're not going to do a show on Christmas Day. I don't think most people expect that, so we're going to thank all of our sponsors when it comes to that. Hi, Elise. Elise just walked into my office here, officially working from home. Busy day on Monday to get all the content ready for you guys for the upcoming bowl game. Couldn't be here without our buddies Colin Newell and Andrew Chaplin, a couple of guys in similar industries. Colin, I told this story to Ryan Harklaw. You guys will get to hear it on our – I got a call from Colin's, like one of his agents or somebody who works for Colin, and she asked me, they didn't have recorded that I had updated my roof, that I had gotten a new roof after the derecho. They're going to save me an extra $300 in 2025. They just found that to save me. Isn't that, like, she just found it. Her name was Maggie. Props to you, Maggie.
Way to go, Maggie.
Good job, Maggie. Colin Newell, Farm Bureau Financial.
Just $300 just out
Services.
of thin air.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was like $350. I think I undershot it right there. Want to give another shout out to our friend Andrew Chaplin, Chappie, over at Hunziker Realty. He's just bebopping and scatting around buying houses for everybody right now. He is quickly becoming the go-to realtor for Cyclone fanatics, which is great.
You guys would love him.
You guys will love him.
Yeah,
He's
Andrew,
probably at Welch Avenue Station right now.
Well, he's got the NFL pick'em over there.
I don't want to make him sound like an alcoholic.
He's
not.
a community guy.
Yeah, he's just he's one of those guys.
What's the best way to connect with people? You got to be out in the community.
Yeah,
Come on now.
shaking hands.
That's right.
Our friends at the Ivy College of Business at Iowa State, our friends at the, of course, over at Terraplex Ag. You see their ad each and every week here on Williams Bloom. And, of course, Jeff Kelderman, Mark Steck, the whole team at Kelderman Manufacturing, not only sponsors of the show, but they've become really good friends of mine as well.
I can't help. So you've been following this drone stuff nationally, right?
Not as much as I should be. I really want to read more about this.
If that was happening in Iowa, I think people were like, "That's just Terraplex Ag, like no big deal." No big deal.
I did think about them when I was. Are the drones still out there?
The news
Why
died
don't we
down.
shoot
I don't
them
know.
down?
Well, we can't shoot them down because they're not. They could be a manned aircraft.
Well, I mean, shouldn't we know?
Well, that would be my argument.
I feel like we know pretty much everything going on, anyways. Like, why aren't we shooting these things down?
Well, the drone's a soft. Do you want to? Drone's a soft spot apparently in the whole security discussion. But rest assured, maybe Terraplex is over in New Jersey, and that's this whole thing. Let's make a call to our guys and gals over there, and maybe we could solve this situation.
Well, I personally think that they're from outer space.
Is there any farms in New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm sure they got
There's
something.
probably
over
some
there.
farms, right?
Like, if it's China, Russia, like, we know what they're doing. Like, we're spying on them all the time.
I mean, it sounds like nobody knows what these things are, and that's a little bit.
It has to be something supernatural.
Go with it.
No, but serious. I'm not even.
Why?
If it's China, you think that our government doesn't know what the hell they're doing?
I really don't think it's China. I mean,
I don't either.
So
what is it, Brent?
Well, but it's not the aliens either, because why would they put actual aviation lights on the drones? You see these pictures, and they've got lights on them, like the green and the red, like aviators have. If I'm an alien, I don't want to be noticed.
I think they're screwing with us.
If I have the technology, I'm being like translucent.
Maybe they want
here.
us to see them this time. Maybe they're giving us signs of something more coming.
That's Well, hey, maybe they're.
I just I can't fathom. We know
the aliens.
We know like what these world leaders are thinking before. Like, if you've studied, like, we knew Russia was going into Ukraine like for God knows how long. Like, we knew it was happening. We're watching every movement of these foreign entities. Like, how do we not know what the hell these drones are?
The timing lines up here. This dawned on me. These things started to appear when the portal opened. Are the aliens?
Is it Greg Schiano?
Greg Sankey.
Yeah.
Schiano.
Schiano over there at Rutgers.
No, the aliens are scouting the portal, figuring out how much they can throw at people.
Didn't foresee us going down
Terraplex
that road.
Ag.
Also, if you're having this conversation, you may as well drink some Ames Lager because you're going to need it. Of course, our friends at the Iowa State University Foundation are phenomenal partners of ours. Gravitate Co-working. You need to get your life in check. Get your will done with our friend Hopewood, hopewoodjd.com. Game Day Men's Health. The Iowa Clinic Men's Center, Mr. B Clothing.
Holy smokes.
The Iowa State University Foundation, I said them. We have so many great sponsors.
How great are our people?
Oh, man.
And how great are our listeners
Cody
and
Road.
viewers to make this possible?
Absolutely. We couldn't do it without any of you guys. So thank you so much. And WebWise, again, they do guess the point spreads during the football season. And we love all of you. Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment coming up here. So we don't want to forget our friends over at Wiffles Hybrid. I'm really not into these Big 12 bowl games at all. I don't really feel like we need to talk about that. I wanted to do this. I'm going to let you project. You can do a Big 12 power rating, Big 12 basketball going into conference play. Are the Cyclones number one?
Yes.
Feels like they are, right?
Yes.
Or is Houston? Would you
Nope.
still put Houston there?
Nope.
I wouldn't
would not.
either.
I would not.
Metrics-wise, they love Houston, but Houston's best win is Butler.
Is that it? Yeah, I mean, they haven't beat anybody, have they?
Lost to Auburn, lost to Alabama, lost to San Diego State.
Yeah,
now, granted, two of those were in overtime.
No, I know,
So
and they're good. They're going to be good. Like
their best win is against Butler or Notre Dame, depending on who you want to give that to.
Okay, here
Either one.
I'm going to power, and man, you could just
Notre Dame was a neutral site, so maybe that one's a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I still put. So if I'm doing like best team or am I doing best resume? Right
Yeah, I mean,
now?
and then
two different
Kansas obviously is in the mix, but I don't think their resume is better than Iowa State's.
It's
right
not.
now.
Iowa State has the best resume. It's not.
Correct.
I don't think it's actually close. Now it's going to be those three again competing for the thing. I thought Cincinnati's non-conference has been super impressive. They had a super nice win yesterday. CWC, they beat Dayton by 8.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good win for them. Tech's been pretty good. Arizona's been a disappointment, but you know they got guys. How about this? Our guy Tang lost again. You know, sad to see it.
Dude, they're a mess.
I think the Big 12 is down, which I would not have thought of before the season. But between K-State, Arizona, TCU's been a disappointment. BYU got crushed at a bad Providence team. Baylor's been average. I just, maybe these teams will figure it out. But I think on the whole,
isn't the SEC better right now?
The SEC is better right now,
Yeah.
and it pains me to say that, but it is. Now, that doesn't mean the Big 12 still not. I think the Big 12 will still get 8 or 9 teams in. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's not. It's not the same. In the unbalanced schedule will be a real factor here. I mean, I think. CW, if you could just go Ken Palm, right? I think Iowa State's gonna be favored in virtually every game the rest of the way.
It's funny, we think alike. I'm looking at that right now.
That doesn't mean anything. I mean,
They are favored in all but 3 games.
Okay.
The rest of the way.
And,
at Texas Tech, at Kansas, and at Houston.
Now,
Iowa State would be an underdog.
let me break some news for y'all. Iowa State's not gonna go 17-3. Okay, it won't happen. By the way, there are 20 games this year. That's new.
Ken Palm projects 15-5.
Man, I would sign up for that.
I mean, if
right
you're
now.
15-5, are you a number 1 seed?
You are, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But no, I think looking at this thing now, I think it's a 3-team. The three have separated themselves, in my opinion, and that's Iowa State, Kansas, and Houston. And then it gets really weird. I think there's a next tier between Tech, Cincinnati. I'm going to put Arizona in that tier as well. I don't know what I'm getting from Oklahoma State. I think they're bad. We've seen K-State be bad. Colorado's no good. UCF has been interesting. They're not in that tier, though. I think it's kind of top-heavy. I'm going to be realistic here. I think it's pretty top-heavy this year.
I would like to do this when I have some more time. Maybe I'll do this here over the break and analyze the Big 12 schedules again.
Let's do Iowa State's first 5 real quick, because I think that quick start will be necessary.
You got an opportunity for a quick start.
I haven't even looked yet. So I'm
going to give it to you right here.
All right.
You've got Colorado
on the road
Monday, so a week from tomorrow.
Yep.
And then you've got big one on Saturday the 4th, Baylor at home. That's the Larry Eustace game.
Yeah, so for those have they announced it yet? I don't care. Let's break some news. I believe that
they've announced it. It's on the schedule.
Okay.
I don't know if they've announced that Larry's coming, but I know that they've announced that they're doing the thing for that team. But our sources have told us Larry Eustace is coming to town.
That's our sources.
Yeah.
Larry's going to be in Hilton for the first time in 16 years. He came back for that Cyclone.
Larry Eustace is a friend of the program.
He is.
Yes.
We're gonna have to check in with Larry.
Our program.
But they're gonna celebrate that Elite Eight team and the back-to-back Big 12 championship teams from 2000, 2001 for that Baylor game. That I can't I'm
Well,
getting
it's funny 'cause
goosebumps.
The Williams
just thinking about
family
it.
Christmas has been postponed because of that game. I was like, I can't miss it. I'm sorry.
When Larry's in town.
Yeah, I'm not missing. Yeah, on the Cyclones.com schedule, it says the recognition of those teams.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we're not out of form here.
How cool is oh man, that is gonna be
So that's
like
a 1 o'clock tip in Hilton on the 4th of January.
the perfect way to start
For what
the
it's
new year.
worth, Ken Palm would have Iowa State as an 8-point favorite in that.
Yeah, I mean Baylor's just hasn't been great yet.
So then you have Utah at home on a Tuesday night.
Okay, that's
that should be
sleepy.
a win.
Yeah, it's sleepy.
They lost to Iowa for what it's worth on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then you got to go to Texas Tech on
That's
the 11th,
tough. That's
which they're pretty good.
They are. I like him a lot. I think he's a good coach, and they got some dudes over there.
And then you get Kansas at home. So I mean, really, let's be honest. If you can go 4-1,
4-1
in the
would be a
first
win.
5, you feel
Yeah.
like $1 million.
Yep. Yep.
Can we talk a little bit about West Virginia real quick? Because that's the
Yeah.
next game. He's done a pretty good job there. They're better than we thought, right? They're one
Yeah.
of those teams that is
They're-
better than we thought they would be.
For
I would
sure.
say.
It,
Beat
yeah.
Gonzaga, beat Arizona.
And
Georgetown's not bad this year.
they haven't
Got a win
played-
over them.
They haven't played a lot. Georgetown is better this year. It's a good point.
Whooped Creighton's ass the other
They,
night. But Creighton's a mess.
They go to Kansas on the 31st of December. Really anxious to see how DeVries does for that. Between DeVries and Javon Small, I mean, they got two of the better guards in the conference. That's going to be a brutal place to go. I really believe that. I wouldn't be confident going to West Virginia ever, especially
No.
with those two guards.
No, it's a brutal place to
Yeah.
play. So that's your first 6, and after that, Central Florida, Arizona State, you have that Arizona swing after that. So I agree with you. I'm glad you said it because everybody already thinks that I'm anti-Big 12 after
No,
I told you guys
it's
for
still
6
great.
months they would only get one team in the college football playoff, and you all tried to villainize me for it. I do think the league is down. At least the perception of it. It might be really tough. But
relative to the last 2 years, it is.
Yes.
It's still going to be.
the perception out there, and again, perception is often everything, although I feel like in college basketball we're much more of a data-driven sport than we are in football.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So the data, I'm guessing, you come around to March 1st, it's still going to really like the Big 12.
Oh yeah, I think it's still the second best conference. It's just
Yes.
the SEC is just
They're
They got
abnormally really good this year.
abnormally
And
really good.
Sometimes you just tip your hat and give somebody else credit. And I think the SEC's probably got that this year.
And it actually, I'm looking right now, and it appears the Big Ten is just like a half a tick better than the Big 12 as well, but not much.
And to wrap things up here in our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment, when you grow in your league, the data gets the math gets more difficult to be like elite all the time. Because
sure.
you have you have more
expanding.
good teams, but you have more bad teams
Well,
too.
let's
And not
just-
everybody can be really good.
Right, and look at the additions you brought in this year. Colorado drags you down. Arizona State drags you down. Utah drags you way down. And then Arizona was supposed to be really good and has been maybe the most disappointing team in the country in the non-conference. So they're not helping at all. And when you had UCF who was dragging you down, it's not going to be the golden era of Big 12. It's still going to be very good, but there will be more opportunities where you better be focused on some of those road games like the at the West Virginias, at the Oklahoma States, because those teams can still jump up and bite you. They still got guys. But I don't think it's as good as it has been relative to the other leagues.
Brent, love you, buddy. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, all.
Appreciate you. We will, again, if you're listening to this on Sunday or even Monday, you will have your football heavy, your not Orange Bowl, jeez, your Pop-Tart Bowl. Going to Florida, just for
Oranges.
some reason.
Oranges.
Man, Orlando doesn't quite zing like Miami does, but
Well, it's in the middle of the state.
just can't wait to
Did
go
you
to that
see? I had
one strip mall.
I thought of there's a lot of strip malls in Orlando. I thought of you. Texas wins its game yesterday, And do you know who greeted Steve Sarkisian in the press conference?
Who?
A rep from the Peach Bowl.
Jesus.
And he gave
These
him
guys are
gave
shameless.
him a bowl invite.
These guys are just shameless.
And I was like, oh no.
I was looking at that. I mean, listen, the playoffs sucked. The first round sucked. But, like, I don't know how anybody could watch those games. Be like, man, I wish that this would have happened at the Peach Bowl. At Jerry World.
totally
It would have been
agree.
so much better if these two teams played on a neutral field.
I actually thought the atmospheres were really good at the start of the game, and they all got out of hand.
That's a bigger conversation for us to have as far as, like, the issues with this playoff and what needs to be done. Again, I would make the point, let's not overreact.
To
Even the
one-
14
I know.
playoff, these games usually weren't very good for one reason or another. Let's not overreact to 1 year.
Oh, we can't do that. It's 2024, baby. Like, we got to react to everything. We're reactionary.
We're going to make tweaks to this thing as a sport, and the more you bitch, it's probably not going to go in the Big 12's favor.
In a weird way, Tennessee just getting,
That was
Paul-
good for us.
what's the word I'm looking for? Pollywopped? I don't know if that's the word. Was maybe the best thing that happened to the Big 12 in the last month. Because if they would have won that game, C-Dub, I'm telling you, it would have been like game over for
Yeah.
10 months.
Yeah.
It would have been bad. So thank you.
Even competing, like, it was good that they just got destroyed.
Not even if it was totally agree. Like,
Now, the Big 12, Arizona State needs to beat Texas.
it's a massive game for the Big 12. Massive, massive, massive. What's that
and the
point
fact
spread?
that it's against Texas, too, is just huge.
Do we have a point spread? Is it like 8, 9, 10?
I can get you one. Hold on. Let me just pull these up. We'll just give our friends at Webwise a little shout out.
There we go. Webwise. I haven't looked.
Try Webwise.
Webwise.
Bulls. Okay. Sorry. But God, they should really have a spot on Action Network that's not these stupid bowl games and just give me the freaking playoff games. Okay. Wow. Texas minus 14.
No. Disrespectful to Cam. They're going to get scatterbooed.
That's crazy.
14.
You've got Ohio State minus 2.5 over Oregon. All the
Interesting.
sharp money's on Oregon early. Georgia's a 1.5 point favorite over Notre Dame.
That's it.
And
What about Penn State?
where is the Penn State game? Give me a second. Penn State is a 11 point favorite over Boise. So you've got two
Yikes.
of the teams with a bye that are double-digit underdogs.
That's why.
I mean, that's kind of an issue with the thing, but
Yeah,
I also
that's that. They
My-
don't.
my-
we need Boise to play well too in a weird way. I think. Do I want Boise?
yeah, you absolutely do.
When
I
are those
mean,
games?
in-
Like I need to.
Again, you guys can get mad at me. I'm telling you what is the truth nationally. The perception is that the Big 12 is closer to the Mountain West than it is the SEC. That's the perception. I'm not saying
don't
it's
think
the
it's-
reality. I'm
it's
telling
not
you,
fair.
if you asked Greg Sankey and Lane Kiffin, two of the loudest dudes out there, they would think that. I'm not saying they're right. So, how do you change perception? Go out there and beat Texas.
You beat Texas. That's a massive game for the Big 12. And if you don't beat them, but you're at least
Yeah.
you cannot. If this is a TCU redo from 2 years ago, it would not be great. When are these
But
games?
people still forget that TCU beat Michigan
I know. And then
to get to that game. But they never talk about. But again, this is my point, people. It's a perception-based deal, and the Big 12 has such an uphill battle. It sucks, but that's what Yormark and his team are up against.
So those are Tuesday and
The
Wednesday
New Year's
next week.
Eve and New Year's Day.
Okay. All right. Come on, Arizona State. Do something for us.
We've got some bowl games coming up on Monday. We've got Coastal Carolina and Texas San Antonio.
Of course.
We've got Northern Illinois and Fresno. And then on Christmas Eve, we've got South Florida, San Jose State.
That Northern Illinois victory over Notre Dame may go down as one of the bigger upsets of all time.
Bloom, I've got our day on Tuesday planned.
Tuesday is Christmas Eve. Okay, go on.
No, on Thursday, excuse me.
Thursday.
We are going to watch Rutgers and Kansas State together in Florida.
Is that the one in Fenway?
Yep, that's a 4:30 kick, brother.
Yes.
We are going to kick our feet up,
Hey, what?
and we are going to cheer for Kansas State football together.
What's the go-to local beer? Florida people, message us.
Yes.
What's the local go-to?
When Bloom and I
beer.
land
Where
on
are
the
we going?
26th,
Where are we going?
and we stop by a local liquor store.
Is it Jai Alai? Was the
Yeah, that's the
Jai
stuff.
Alai?
There's something
Is
I
that
always get when I'm in Sanibel.
Cigar City Brewing? I think.
Yes,
like
Cigar City. That's it.
Yeah.
Good job. They make really good
They
stuff.
do make it. Their IPA is Jai. I'm probably butchering that. It's really good though.
I really like that brewery. Really
Any
good
other hot
stuff.
spots? Let us know, folks.
Yeah,
Let us
I
know.
don't see me doing a lot out in Orlando
I don't
this
either.
year.
I don't either.
The problem with Orlando is it'll be fun. We'll have a good time. You don't ever feel like you're getting anything local. Like when you go out to a bar or a restaurant, everything feels very Applebee's to me. You know what I mean? That's
Now-
just what I hate about
yeah.
Orlando. If in Tampa, you just go down the road and it's crazy. Like you go to these like beach towns and
Yeah,
there's all sorts of mom and pops and like stuff like that. Orlando is just so Disney heavy that
Yeah.
it makes it hard.
Downtown's nice. It's just not very big. There's not much. Anyway, should be. Hope to see you all down there.
I just hit a 3-team underdog parlay in the NFL, money line parlay underdogs that won daddy plus 1,700.
The portal is open. WeWillCollective.com.
I'm not betting that much. I can promise you I'm not getting you a defensive
Can
lineman
you
with
give
what
me a
I
D
bet.
end?
I can promise you that it would not be – you're not getting much.
Hey, everybody, it all adds up, though.
We can go and raid D3 with what I just won.
There you go.
All right, he's Brent Blum. I'm
Cheers,
Chris
all.
Williams. Merry Christmas. We're going to have a lot of content for you guys over the next few days. I hope you enjoy it. Later.